Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out top 10 British shows Americans can't handle.
Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we're looking at British shows that didn't land across the pond, either because they had terrible remakes or were just too unique.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
From the title, I thought it was going to be shows that I just can't, I'm going to have my mind blown, or I just can't understand, or it confuses me, or I can't handle it. But I guess it's just shows that were in the UK and then they tried to make an American version and it didn't work out. I think there's a lot of those. We like to copy your TV shows. Give us more TV shows. Give us more.
Number 10. Taskmaster. Panel shows used to be much bigger in America, but today they're definitely more common and more popular over here. Taskmaster is probably the most unique panel show currently airing on British television, and it's proven massively popular worldwide. But not in America, it seems, where it was given a remake in 2018 that didn't land with American audience. The British version still has a following, but something about it didn't translate to an American host and American panel, even if Alex Horne was still there to watch over his own creation. Still, it's hard to imagine the visceral Alex birth scene Sally Phillips created making it onto American broadcast television. We can't even really show you it on YouTube.
I don't understand what this show is about. It looks like people are told to do things, and it's like a hidden camera. In the program, a group of 5 celebrities, mainly comedians, attempt to complete a series of challenges, with Holm acting as umpire in each challenge and Davies, the Taskmaster, judging the work and awarding points based on contestants' performances. It's a comedic game show. Okay. That looks like it would be really funny. I guess it just didn't work out. It looks like they had, Reggie Watts. I didn't hear of it. I wonder why it didn't work.
Number 9. Little Britain, USA. Did Americans like Matt Lucas and David Walliams taking aim at their culture? Well, apparently not. Despite many Brits successfully satirizing the United States, Jesse Armstrong and Armando Iannucci chief among them, Walliams and Lucas weren't part of that lucky bunch. It probably didn't help that the show was still called Little Britain, as well as the fact they reused a lot of the British version's most popular characters, as if the likes of Daffod and Vicky Pollard would land on the other side of the Atlantic. It wasn't popularly received, and only 6 episodes ever aired, despite HBO apparently wanting to keep working with the pair.
You know, in some of the clips they just showed, I couldn't really understand some of the dialogue, so it may have just been that. Their accents a little too thick for us. But I recognize the larger guy. He was in Bridesmaids, right? Yeah. Matt Lucas, that's him. Williams and Lucas have spent so much time deciding which frocks to wear, they've forgotten to write any gags. And their desperation to be outrageous is now just shockingly tedious. That's not me talking, that's this talking. That's unfortunate. I'm sure they're talented comedic actors.
Number 8. Misfits. The American remake of Misfits has never seen the light of day, which is probably for the best. It was in development for years, even casting some of its stars, but then quietly disappeared. Presumably, it was terrible, and production ended, even though Misfits might be one of the easier British properties to adapt. Of course, America's got plenty of superhero shows of its own, and maybe this British import wouldn't have landed in 2017 the same way it did in 2009, when it was fresh. But upon hearing the news of another remake, British and American fans all reacted the same way. Why?
I watched, I think, the first season of this show, the British version, and it was great. I enjoyed it. And I think there was already kind of an American show like this called Heroes, where random people start getting superpowers. And also, essentially, any superhero origin story is that. So, and this dude, I don't remember his name, Robert Sheeran? Is that him? He was in an American show called, what was that called? I don't remember. It's another, like, superhero type thing. I think it was on Amazon. I don't remember what it was called. Oh well. Probably just a oversaturated market with superhero stuff.
Number 7. Gavin and Stacy. It's very difficult to imagine that Gavin and Stacy, which draws so heavily on the unique cultures of England and Wales, could ever have been adapted for America. But a version was made, called Us and Them, featuring a Gavin from New York City and a Stacy from the faraway, distant land of Pennsylvania. Originally slated to air on Fox, it was quickly moved onto streaming, where it seemed nobody watched it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Though many of the jokes were directly lifted from the British version, it just wasn't a format that worked. But the original sitcom hadn't received much interest in the US either, with its strong Welsh accents and references to niche British culture.
I've heard of Gavin and Stacy because James Corden was on it, but I didn't know there was an American version. Looks like it had Jason Ritter in it. He's good. And him. Oh, I've seen him do stand-up. I've seen him live. Michael Ian Black. Yes, he's very funny.
Number 6. Absolutely fabulous.
I've heard of that.
Are Jennifer Saunders and Joanna Lumley completely irreplaceable as Eddie Monsoon and Patsy Stone? Almost definitely. Though the Americans did give it a go. After a botched attempt to make an American version back in the 90s, potentially fronted by A-lister Carrie Fisher, they came back with another iteration in 2009, and it was not well received, with only a pilot ever being made. The strange thing is that the British original had actually aired successfully, though in a 2018 interview, Saunders revealed that America wanted to air Ab Fab with subtitles. Of all the British shows that might be incomprehensible enough to require subtitles, you wouldn't think Ab Fab would be top of that list.
Oh, that's crazy they wanted to put subtitles under this. I can understand it though, because you can understand them, but it's like sometimes it's just a little too quick to really internalize it, and it takes a little extra effort to understand. Carrie Fisher and Barbara Carrera was put into motion by Roseanne Barr. Barr did incorporate many elements of the show into the 9th season of her show, Roseanne, in which her character wins the lottery. Interesting. Oh, the 2009 version would have had Kathryn Hahn and Kristen Johnston. I know who Katie Hahn is, but I don't know who Kristen Johnston is. Oh, from Third Rock from the Sun. Third Stone from the Sun. Third Rock from the Sun. Third Rock. Oh, that would have been great. Oh well.
Number 5. Spaced.
Jesus, I cried like a child at the end of Terminator 2. You know, with the thumb and the molten... You know?
The show that launched the careers of its stars and creators, Spaced remains a deeply British cult classic. But you wouldn't think it would be so alien to American audiences, thanks to its liberal references and homages to American properties, including Star Wars and The X-Files. But Edgar Wright has said that this is exactly why Spaced wouldn't work in an American version, despite a pilot being made at one point, because part of its charm is how much these Londoners love Hollywood. The final nail in the coffin is that Spaced has proven extremely difficult to export because of licensing issues over its contemporary soundtrack.
Soundtrack did it. So did Edgar Wright have something to do with that? Directed by Edgar Wright. Wow. I knew Simon Pegg was in it because his face is in it, but I didn't know Edgar Wright directed it. He's a great film director. I love how he incorporates music into his films. He edits to the beat sometimes, and it's fun. He's like a playful Guy Ritchie. The show has a distinctive cinematic style set by Wright and is shot with a single camera. Northern Exposure's frequent use of fantasy sequences was one of the key influences. Wow, I love Northern Exposure. That was great. Pegg and Stevenson pitched the show as a cross between The Simpsons, The X-Files, and Northern Exposure. Oh yeah. That's interesting. The reason it couldn't be picked up was for music licensing. And Edgar Wright is he's a big music fan. I need to check this one out, because I love Edgar Wright.
Number 4. The Inbetweeners. The most notorious American remake of them all, The Inbetweeners US has been widely derided for sanitizing and ruining the classic comedy. Unable to show much nudity or use the original's delightfully bad language, it was a disaster from the get-go, despite trying to copy its predecessor beat for beat. But do American audiences understand the original? We're sure some do, but the relentless swearing, X-rated humour, underage drinking, and the fact the characters all seem to absolutely hate each other maybe don't land the same way. When bus wankers becomes bus turds, you know you're in trouble.
Turds is not as funny as wankers. That's too bad. If they got the show on HBO or Cinemax or something like that, Showtime, maybe they would have been able to do all that cursing. Oh well.
Number 3. The Jeremy Kyle Show. America already had plenty of shows following Jeremy Kyle's format without having to actually put up with Kyle stomping around and insulting everybody. So it was a foregone conclusion that sending Kyle to the US probably wasn't going to work. After all, he barely appeals to British audiences, controversial as his show always was, so what hope did he have abroad? It did eventually air in the UK as well, and maybe that's what it was always destined for. Instead of Brits poking fun at their own exploited underclass, we could laugh at the people in America instead. But at least America saw enough sense to cancel it before it went too far.
Yeah, I feel like we already have shows like this. Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, Oprah Winfrey gets into this kind of stuff, or she used to, I think. I don't know. Is she still on TV? I don't think so. Cheaters.
Number 2. Skins. The Inbetweeners was a more realistic depiction of teen life, where Skins is a hedonistic ideal of everything teenagers wished they were doing, but, let's face it, probably weren't. Even over here, Skins was controversial, with its unflinching portrayals of mental illness, substance abuse, and sexuality. But then the Americans decided to remake it. Unlike the Inbetweeners, this time they wanted to keep the sex and substances in, which riled up the US's Puritan audiences. Though there were some genuine safeguarding issues, as some of the stars performing those explicit scenes were actually underage. On top of that, it just wasn't very funny.
I remember hearing about this show on MTV. I remember seeing ads for it, I think. And I remember a big controversy about like teenagers having sex, like a lot. It didn't do great. People flipped out a little bit.
Number 1. Naked Attraction. In September 2023, the UK's most explicit dating show finally made its way to American audiences, after popping up on the streaming service Max. Though the format has spread throughout liberal Europe, the US was horrified to see half a dozen naked people stuck in coloured boxes and judged. Naked Attraction has full frontal nudity with absolutely no censoring, so it was hardly surprising that America, known for shying away from sex, didn't really like it. Though the show's defenders say it's actually about body positivity, this just didn't work in the US. Though it's still worth noting that it's topped Max's streaming charts for weeks, so clearly some of them are enjoying it. Let us know in the comments which of these shows should never have left the UK.
Wow, yeah, that would not go over well in the States. We have this Puritan kind of prudish thing about nudity on TV. But you know what? We have it. It's on cable channels. You could see boobies and sometimes vajayjays and peepees, but not on a like network TV show like this. That would be weird. It also seems a little bit shallow, judging people based on their bodies rather than their personalities. I mean, we would all do it, but we don't like to admit it. I think that's the thing. I would like to see this. I would like to see naked bodies and judge them. It would be fun. Oh, look at that. Look at the nipple on that one. I like those nipples better than those nipples. That kind of thing. It'd be fun. Oh, they're saying there was a version of it on Max. In the United States, it was released on HBO Max. I have that. I guess I could watch that. It's so crazy how some shows can do really well someplace and then not well other places. I think in America, TV shows are maybe a little more influenced by advertisers. I'm sure it's that way in Britain as well, but I could see how there might be a little more pressure in America. There's probably more competition from different TV shows and advertisers, and the differences in prudishness about nudity and language. If you're making a show for American audiences, it seems that people really like guns. Skins and Naked Attraction are the top two, and it's both about sexual things. Anyway, interesting video. I learned about some shows I'd never heard before, but thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see you next time. Later.